A few days ago, I had an argument, and I hardly ever have any arguments with a friend of mine. She claimed that we have to follow every commandment, every rule of the Bible. That it doesn't matter if you break one rule, a small rule versus a big rule, the sin is the same. I could not agree with that. Well, there are many reasons I couldn't agree with that. The first one, of course, is that we cannot follow all of them. Do not murder is very different for me than the rule that the Bible has about what I eat. I consider them to be in a very different level. There is another thing. In every generation that we have, life changes. We cannot sacrifice in the temple. And there are many, many rules in the Bible about the temple, for instance. But there is one more important thing for me. The most important thing for me is that for me the Bible is a living book. I read it, it speaks to me. And it can't speak to me if it was static. The idea of following every commandment, the way it was written, assuming that we know how it was written, means that it's a dead book. It's a book that doesn't change. It's a book that the rules that were relevant 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago are the same rules that are relevant today. And of course it can't talk to me. I'm not a herdsman. I don't live in the desert. I'm here now, but that's not where I live. So things that were relevant for people in the desert are not the same thing that are relevant for me. So the question is, what does the Bible tell us about it? So today it's day 7 of 50 days of Genesis, and let's go and see what the Bible tells us about this specific point. We start. אלה תולדות נוח. נוח איש צדיק תמים היה בדורותיו. את האלוהים התהלך נוח. As usual, we'll start with a translation. אלה, these are toldot, the history, the generation. Noach, of Noach. Noach, ish, man. Tzaddik tamim. Tzaddik is a righteous man. Tamim is a complete righteous man, total righteous man. Haya, was. Bedorotav, in his time, in his age, in his generation. Et Elohim, with God. Hithalech Noach, walked Noach. So the simple way to read it, of course, is this is the history of Noach. Noach was a completely righteous man in his generation. Et Elohim, and Noach walked with God. Pretty simple. But what does Haya bedorotav, in his generation, means? He was a righteous man in his generation. What does it mean? Would he have been a righteous man in our generation, in a different generation? The emphasis of righteous in his generation, to me at least, indicates that righteous is relative to the period. In a period that everyone does not murder, it's not being righteous not to murder. In a city, in a town of evil, it's not just righteous not to be evil. Righteous is an extra thing relevant to the period that you live in. What does it mean? You can't expect Noah to behave like we expect our righteous people to behave today. But the Bible is the same Bible, you might ask. Yes, it's the same Bible. But when Noah read, assuming that he could have read because the Bible was given in Mount Sinai many hundreds of years later, but let's assume that he had the same book of rules. He read them differently. And that's what made him a righteous man, following the rules the way that he interpreted them, in the way that it was relevant. His moral behavior, his behavior towards God. Im ha-Elohim italech Noach. He walks with God. And God was happy with him in his generation. So for me, what it means, that interpretation of the Bible from 2,000 years ago, from 1,000 years ago, even from 500 or 100 years ago, is not necessarily relevant. After all, I always have to choose which rules of the Bible I can follow and I cannot follow. What happens if there is a conflict between rules? What happens when I have to choose between saving life and not lying, or not stealing to save life? I have to break a rule. If they're all the same, why would I steal in order to save somebody's life? The rule of the Bible are absolute in the way that we always have to read them, that we always have to understand them, and that we always have to see what they mean to us. And that's what the Bible tells us about Noah, about ourselves, about following the rules of the Bible, and about righteous person. Be the righteous person as it is relevant today, not as it was relevant when it was written over 2,000, nearly 3,000 years ago. As you can see, I'm still in the desert. I just love it here. It's unbelievable feeling. Again, first light. The sun has not risen yet. The birds are just waking up. And if you want to feel the grace of God, there is no better place than first light in the desert. Of course, the desert of Israel is special, but if you have desert near you, maybe you're in the United States, maybe you're in Africa, in Asia, be in the morning where you have no people, just when the birds wake up, and just feel yourself alive in the presence of God. This is one of a series of 50 days of Genesis. If you want to know more about it, look at day 0. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe below so you will not miss any of the episodes. Leave me a comment with a hashtag 50 days of Genesis. I will know that you are together with me in this journey. Have a blessed day.